Welcome to Those Muckrakers, episode number 58. I'm Pete.
And I'm Pat.
And God damn it, we got some news for you. Lots of news, all the news. I want to jump right in this. Forget the pre-show banter. I like to call this this new segment I'm doing in libtard news. Only reason I say that is because I hate the word libtard and I think it's dumb. But just to prove that
we're gonna take it back.
Yeah, we're gonna take it back, just like Randall from Clerks 2. But just like to prove that we're a fair and balanced news source, just like Fox. I don't know, man. Like, we're very left-leaning, but like that doesn't mean I always agree with this.
Well, we're left-leaning because right now the right wings are the monsters. One of these days when the left fully takes over and digs their roots deep into American politics and they become really hard to uproot again, that's whenever you're going to see all the bad guys flee to the left, and then left-wing policies will start to be the bad ones, and then we'll start to take right-wing positions. And people will be like, right. Well, you know, and like, no, that was 50 years ago. Anyway, just like how we're doing right. Go ahead.
So this is about this article from the Atlantic. So Harvey Weinstein, the movie producer that sexually assaulted a bunch of women, is going on trial, right?
Yes.
So this guy named Ronald S. Sullivan Jr., who is a law professor at Harvard, is going to represent Mr. Weinstein, right?
Let's hope he believes in magic.
Do you believe in magic? Because that would be my opening statement to the judge.
Judge, do you believe in magic? And I hope you do, because you'll always have a Harvey Weinstein who didn't touch their boobs. It's magic.
We would get held in contempt so fast. So, what's his name? So Ronald Sullivan Jr. is representing Harvey Weinstein. Now, he also holds he also teaches at Harvard, right? He's like a faculty dean. And so a bunch of Harvard students they want him to step down. They say, "You're supporting Weinstein. Step down from your post."
Well, I mean, everyone deserves fair representation, even if they're clearly a monster like Weinstein.
Yeah, they spray painted on his door, "Whose side are you on? And your silence is violence," and all this stuff. Now,
I like that because it rhymes. That's a rhyme I haven't heard before.
Your silence is violence. I do love a good rhyme. But it doesn't matter how despicable the person is on trial and what crime they've committed. I always go back to the height of American idealism was when at the end of World War II, everyone's like, what are we going to do with all these Nazis? And I don't remember if I've told this story before, but it was funny. Churchill was like, "I want you to take them out back to the ditch and shoot them in the head." Stalin was like, "No, we will put them on fake trial, then we will take them to ditch and shoot them in head," right? And then America was like, hey man, why don't we put them on a real trial where they have a chance of getting found innocent? And somehow that's what we went with. They were found guilty and hung, but point is, even Nazis got a trial, right?
Right. Yeah, America used to have the moral high ground in the world.
Well,
used to.
Well, kind of. We did drop 2 atomic bombs on a country that was already pretty much collapsed anyway.
Yeah, they were, the people were ready to surrender. Emperor Hirohito was the one who was like, well, fight forever, and the people were like, no, we're good. Well, but believe me, Pete, I've seen Graveyard of Fireflies. That was,
Yeah, they had this idea that, Japan.
But I mean, compared to everyone else, in certain circumstances, we were the moral leaders. We focus on the good parts, and
the point
nowadays there's not even a good part to focus on.
Because a trial brings the crime out in the open and examines it in the light. You know what I mean? That's what's so important about that. I just thought, and I was calling it in libtard news because I thought this is kind of the
libtards are spray painting on the lawyer's door. It's like, silence and violence!
It's like there's a real enemy out there that needs to be fought, and the real enemy is not somebody else's defense counsel,
Aye. Defense counsel is bouncel! Ah!
You weaken the movement when you attack stupid stuff, you know what I mean?
If you're defensive, I'm pensive.
Because so what I want to do is I know we got a lot, so I'm trying to hit some of my quick news stories real quick that don't tie in with your massive news stories. You're gonna love this though. This is my.
I have a lot of quick ones too. But go
this
ahead.
This is my. I don't even know what to call this segment here.
Just make something up. Whatever feels right, then add news segment to the end of it.
I guess this would be in WebMD news.
All right.
Medieval diseases are infecting California's homeless.
Poor homeless.
And you're gonna love this. Apparently, tuberculosis and typhus are spreading through the homeless populations in California.
They got the typhus. Pete, get my shotgun.
There was a time when me and Patrick lived together that I became very, very ill and feverish, and I remember somehow we ended up watching a episode of Little House on the Prairie where everyone got the typhus, and Michael Landon grabbed his gun when someone told him, and I don't know why. They knew what typhus was. I didn't know if he was gonna go shoot somebody. Yeah.
He's gonna shoot the typhus. Just firing into the water supply. Damn it, River! Bam! Don't you take my family from me.
So the reason that's important, and the reason that it's news, because everyone always does this whole who cares about the homeless? Well, diseases tend to spread. So I don't know. It's just oh great, typhus is back, and there's a huge measles outbreak from unvaccinated people.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of websites, I think it's Facebook and one other, are no longer going to recommend anti-vaxxer pages to people like they used to. So social media is finally starting to fight back against people who want to not vaccinate their children. That's the whole anti-vaxxer thing is one of the weird places where the left and the right sort of miss their calling, because right-wing politicians say that you should not get vaccinated, right? Like that one lady, whenever she came out against anti-vaxxing in
Michelle Bachmann?
Michelle Bachmann in I want to say 2012 Republican nominees.
Yeah, she's a real piece of work.
But Republican voters are all pro-vaccine, right? Almost all of them, 99%. But it's the Democrats the Dem politicians say get your vaccines, but the Dem voters are the ones that say, no, I don't think I will. So politicians just sort of missed their mark there if they wanted to play to their base.
Yeah, that's the whole we're not so different, you and I. If you give me typhus, do I not die? If you, if you cough blood in my face, do I not get sick and then go wash my face with bleach?
So I'm not really sure why that's one of those weird things where the politicians believe in opposite things from their voting base, but no one's really stepped forward to correct it yet.
Well, you got to remember too that the only difference, like I said, with the Democrats, and you're starting to see it, and we talked about it between the Republicans right now and the Democrats, is that Republicans were holding power, so anybody that had money to lobby was paying the Republicans off, and the Democrats were in this unique position where they got to kind of go, oh Lord, we stand for truth and justice, right? And then you're starting to see that as the Democrats begin to take back some power, there's the party's fighting itself because as they call it, the far left factions in the Democratic, we need someone more moderate. No, the people in the Democratic Party.
We need someone legitimately moderate, and we don't have it. We only have far right-wing, left-wing people, right?
So they're trying.
People don't realize how far right America is compared to the entire rest of the civilized world.
Well, they're trying to take. So as Democrats take power, you're starting to see how they. What do you call it? They're sort of kind of trying to shift closer to that. Not Republican, but towards that. I want to still appeal. I want to appeal to the rich. My rich donors, right? I don't want to. I don't want to do this. Ocasio-Cortez thing. That's crazy. I want to try to appease the left, but I also want to stay closer to my money. And that's the problem. When she announced the Green New Deal, there were Democrats going, well, that's a little bit much. Maybe we can...
including Nancy Pelosi, sadly.
Yeah.
So that's rough. But whenever I say just add the word news to something, whenever you want to make news segments, here's one that I have called No Wall Womp Womp News.
Well, that actually dovetails into this free speech thing I was going to tell you about.
All right.
So that's the whole thing about it's interesting about Facebook and Twitter is there's a big push right now because they're banning people for violating their terms of service, right? Like I think Ben Shapiro got banned from Twitter, thank God.
Oh, really? Was he?
Yeah,
I mean,
because
good. I hadn't even heard about that.
Because he kept misgendering people, like on purpose.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, so all the conservatives are freaking out because they're like, "Oh, conservative free speech is being suppressed."
Well, that's hate speech, though. That's not free speech. That's just they're trying to say he should be free to like harass people.
Well, it makes me mad because the news seems to follow the curriculum I'm teaching in my history classes.
And also, once again, just so everyone's on the same page here, is free to harass people all he fucking wants, but he's not free from consequences. And freedom of speech is not freedom of distribution. You can't just, put your shit out through whatever private business you want.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Free speech frees you from government persecution for speech, right?
Right.
So
and Twitter is not the government.
Yeah. So
Twitter's a private business.
Yeah, the government can't come arrest Ben Shapiro for being an asshole. But if a service or a vendor doesn't like what he's doing, they can refuse to distribute his stuff. It's the same thing with, so Laura Ingraham called for the RICO law to be applied against, like liberal protesters.
Right.
Because there was some right-wing nut job on a college campus who, and she left this out, like waved a gun at one point and did a bunch of crazy stuff and was kind of getting banned at campuses. So now, like, whenever he shows up to campuses he's not banned, people like curse him out. And he was giving a speech at one point, and this protester just like rang a cowbell the whole time he was talking.
I heard something about a cowbell,
which I think is I said, yeah. So they rang this person protesting this guy. This guy named Strickland basically rang a cowbell the whole time he was talking, so no one could hear him. Which I think is a great way to protest. So she says that a conservative free speech on college campuses is being suppressed, and I'm like, not really. Basically, what you have here is you have two people exercising their right to free speech. It just so happens they're in the same space, and a cowbell is louder.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I'd heard something about a cowbell. I didn't know anything more about it than just having glanced the word cowbell in freedom of speech. I'm like, okay, I'm sure that's also something.
You know what this conservative speech needs is more cowbell.
It needs more cowbell.
But so, that's the whole point. Free speech, like, I just wanted to add this real quick. Like, if you look at the law, free speech ends when your speech can be, in a court of law, considered a clear and present danger.
Right.
That's the limit, right?
Like, the freedom of your fist ends where my nose begins.
Exactly, right? Like, when I was security at Walmart years ago, and I was tracking shoplifters, and I got they made me once. I was like, my cover's blown. These people got right in my face, and they told me I was a George Zimmerman looking motherfucker, and blah blah blah. And they put their hand like right in my face. They didn't touch me, but they were like, we're gonna kick your ass. But they didn't actually touch me, right? So technically, they're exercising their right to free speech as far as their fist does not start where my nose begins.
Right.
But yeah, you can fucking wave a cowbell all you want at a rally, like, that's your right.
Yar. So speaking of people doing whatever they want, it looks like Trump cannot do whatever he wants because
yeah.
In no wall womp womp news, McConnell is finally fed up with Trump's antics and has decided to go ahead with the vote to cancel the national emergency.
Well, just like everything else Trump does.
They are super close to having a veto-proof majority too. So,
Well, what the thing about Trump that is disappointing for me in a weird way is, I'm a big apocalypse fantasy guy, right?
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I'm just like, man, I Welcome to the apocalypse. I mean, and if you think about it, not really. The apocalypse sucks.
I mean, it makes sense to me just because things like Mad Max is a great way to romance the end of the world, right? Because you're free from debt, you're free from responsibilities, you're free from anything that's currently in your life and bothering you. It all gets stripped away in an instant when the end of the world begins. It recontextualizes everything and gives you a whole new chance to be a whole new you. So that's the romance of the situation.
New apocalypse, new you. That's a great book. We're trademarking that. That's gonna be the next book we write is Pete and Pat, New Apocalypse, New You.
That absolutely
7 ways to.
Oh, the first Muckraker book, like officially branded, blah blah blah.
It's gonna be a new how to make your life better by like new apocalypse, new you.
Make your life better by ending the world.
Tired of feeling like you can't get anything done and just your days are gray and it's hard to get out of bed? Well, read New Apocalypse, New You. In reality, what people don't realize about the apocalypse,
it's easy to get out of bed when the dogs are coming,
and people are going to murder you for gasoline. But yeah, like
you might end up dead, but you also might end up the leader of a biker gang for a week before some young upstart overthrows you.
I've always said, though, the thing about the apocalypse that is not appealing because I've had a little bit of experience with it is when we went on that hike. If you've ever lived in a world where you poop outside, toilet paper is scarce, but mosquitoes are not.
Yes, that's very true, and yes, I have.
Yeah, I mean, because right now we're living in a world where toilet paper or mosquitoes are scarce and toilet paper is plentiful. But when you reverse that, man, things suck.
When you don't have access to like soap in a shower, and you get tree sap in your sock, pretty soon that tree sap in your sock becomes tree sap in your pants. It becomes tree sap in your shirt. It becomes tree sap everywhere and in both of your socks, and you can't get rid of it for a long time.
I'm just saying, if you've ever gotten a mosquito bite on your balls, the apocalypse ain't all sunshine and roses. But my main point is, Trump keeps like leading us to like, I'm like, okay, this is where he dissolves the government, and everyone's like, what about the Senate? And he's all like, I am the Senate, okay, sad. Like,
and Eric Trump comes out looking like Jar Jar Binks. I felt that we give my father absolute power, okay?
Misa Dad, gonna make America great again.
I like how Jar Jar Binks turned slave talk from racist to Star Wars.
Well, yeah, he was like a kind of a. If you watch the Star Wars, both him and that giant flying mosquito thing are pretty fucking racist caricatures.
What's the mosquito supposed to be?
Jewish guy.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because of the long snout nose. I get it.
If you look at like anti-Semitic cartoons, but yeah, Trump keeps leading us to the edge of the apocalypse, and you go, all right, well, at least shit's about to get interesting because he's going to seize the reins of absolute power, and then. But
it's not because he's really stupid.
Yeah, he takes us right to the edge, and then he goes to fucking Mar-a-Lago to finger his butthole or whatever it is he does there, like...
He certainly doesn't have sex with Melania because they don't even hang out anymore. Did you see, like, the thing from last night whenever he went to visit, like, some graves for some photo ops?
No, I did not see that.
It was amazing because the photos came out of him and Melania holding hands and walking around and looking at the graves, but the person he was with was not Melania. It was a body double. It was clearly not Melania. It looked nothing like her. This person was at least 20 years older.
That's really weird. Why would you have a body double?
I don't know. Well, because actual Melania doesn't hold his hand in public, so he probably wanted someone to hold his hand while he walked around. And this person was like, the entire internet was like, yeah, this is not her. Look at the jawline, look at the nose, look at the ears, look at every visible part of her face. So she was wearing giant ass sunglasses, right?
Was it Trump Jr. in a wig?
I mean, it might have been, except it was all like grotesque and wrinkly and sunburnt.
Daddy's finally gonna hold my hand. I feel validated.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, so let me throw this out there. So in a little bit of follow-up news, remember the two women we were talking about that went to join ISIS?
Yeah.
In the same way that we're just like, apocalypse, yay! And then just like us in the apocalypse going, this is terrible, boo!
Right. And they might...
The one woman who
they
from
might
England,
lose their citizenship, or their, what do you call it, their stateship, rather.
Yeah. The woman from Britain, Shamima Begum, she was pregnant at the time we broke the story. She had her child, and he died in a refugee camp. Like the baby died.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, and it just kind of calls attention to like, I mean, you say what you will about like this person went to join ISIS, we're not gonna let them come back, but refugee camps are not places for children, man. You know.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you want to kick her out, I mean, that's a whole
That-
different kettle of fish, but send the baby back to Britain or somewhere better, you know?
That's why Trump's baby cages at the Mexican border is so fucking horrifying. And it's still going on and being expanded, by the way. Just because the news isn't covering it anymore doesn't mean it stopped.
That was one of those things. Liberals, I feel like the liberal movement has this thing that I hate in which I feel like people enjoy being outraged a little bit. And I'm not saying the outrage isn't legitimate, but it's not the problem with emotional, like, you know, this is an emotionally upsetting thing, is it doesn't have staying power. And
Right.
people will tire out and they will go away and they will find something else to be outraged about. And they won't stick with this problem needs to be fixed, you know?
Yeah, it's the it actually reminds me of something that has nothing to do with atrocities, which is this one YouTuber Boogie2988 was talking about his movie rating scale, where he's like, you know, an excellent movie, a 10 would be like Pulp Fiction, and he names a few other films. You know, a 1 would be like The Room, and he names a few others. And he's like, 5 would be average. It's where you get exactly what you expect, like every Marvel movie. And whenever I hear him say that, I'm like, okay, I hear you, but that is bullshit, because Marvel movies are fucking phenomenal. Just because they are consistently phenomenal doesn't mean they should get punished with a 5.
I wouldn't say that 5. I wouldn't put all the Marvel movies in a 5.
It's because they're consistent and expected. So just because they blow your mind, well, you expected them to, so 5. Like,
Yeah,
damn it.
I think the last.
But that's what happens to atrocities. Is it goes from a registering as a 10 for, you know, this is baby cages and children dying in prison is horrible, to well, we expect it to happen. Of course Trump murders children. It's just a 5 now. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a normalizing of horror. Yeah, that's the problem. And people kind of like just stop, you know, like being, they just kind of like, they go back to their lives and they forget that, oh, no, this is still happening. Not to mention that like thousands of those kids were like sexually assaulted and all this stuff like while they were in.
Yeah, that's why they don't allow the media in anymore. They don't allow any cameras in there because they need for their workers to be able to just walk around molesting children in their baby cages without any consequences.
I just say that anytime anything is going on, there should just be someone with a camera there. I think that's fair, because if you're worried about it being filmed, then maybe don't do it.
So, God, okay, so this week I have like over 9,000 different stories to get through, because instead of there being like one big story to focus on, just tons and tons of little stuff happened, including stuff that didn't have anything to do with Trump. So that's weird.
The news this week has been like a bunch of little poops where you're like, I think I'm done. Nope, there's some more. Okay, I'm done now. And then you wipe, and then you're like, oh, nope, there's some more.
Yeah, it's like whenever you take a really giant dump, but then there's like a ton of little aftershocks, and it's like, oh, but how long has it been since I pooped last? Oh, I've been holding this in for weeks. Oh, this is quite the backlog.
I've got after poops.
So, oh my God. The first story I have listed is holy. Oh God, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Emoluments clause, Batman. Emoluments.
Emoluments, yeah.
Yeah, holy emoluments clause, Batman. Trump tweeted about his stupid business with his official account, making more money off of his presidency, and they made Jimmy Carter give up his peanut farm. Like, what the fuck? He just blatantly advertises on his official president account now.
Well, you know, if you remember, I filled out that Trump questionnaire where they're like, how's the president doing? And where they fucked up was they left a space for me to write in other for each question.
Yeah.
So I just went through like 20 questions like, you're a piece of shit. Your children are a piece of shit. You should be a piece of shit, but not president. Anyway, so now they keep emailing me. And what's interesting about these emails, because clearly they didn't read my things, or they wouldn't be like, Mr. Trump knows you can count on your support. But they're getting increasingly more desperate for smaller amounts of money. Like the last one that came out was like, he needs your support for the race in 2020. For just $3, you could meet Trump in Ohio and have a word with him and have dinner with him and then take a picture that'll last forever. And I go, Jesus Christ, you guys are begging for like $3 now?
Yeah. While he was out there with the bitey double of Melanie, as he calls her, he was signing Bibles. Just speaking of meeting Trump in
That's
person.
also weird, and they didn't get enough coverage. Like, what? You're you signing Bibles? Like, that's an insane amount of like demagoguery, where someone's like, "This is the most holy text given from my Lord to me. Will you sign it, Mr. President?"
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That didn't really bother me so much. It's just like, yeah, of course he would. They probably think he's the author.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
thing. It's just like it bothers me because like it's just you're having him sign your most sacred text. What are you doing?
yeah. So I don't have a lot of notes about CPAC. I only have the fact that Trump called the Mueller probe bullshit, and well, he called it Oh wait, never mind. Someone else called it an unprecedented display of profanity. But that is bizarre that he's just swearing in public again. They finally got goes early in the campaign in like 2015. In
Yeah.
2015, Trump was still swearing, but then they got him to stop, and he hasn't sworn again until recently, and he's starting to swear more and more publicly in cameras. But he talked for like 2.5 hours. It's now, if anyone's curious what CPAC is, good. If you don't know what it is, that means you're a good person. But it's just like this conservative thing where Glenn Beck gets up to talk and the My Pillow guy gets up to talk. No, for real, the My Pillow guy had like this whole talking point where he's trying to talk about how Jesus-y Trump is and
Well, to be fair, the My
this.
Pillow guy got hooked on heroin real bad, reformed, found Jesus, made millions of dollars off of a pillow. So he's got kind of a weird character arc. I think he'd be a good Marvel superhero,
Yeah,
or
sounds
at
like
least
it actually.
at least a super villain, you know.
Super
But yeah,
villain sounds more
this
correct. 'Cause
Trump. So
he's
Trump has this. Go ahead.
he was talking like his brain had fallen out of his ear the whole time he was there. He was just rambling and saying incoherent weird shit that should get him removed from his presidency, just like the breaking that one clause that says you can't make money off your presidency should get him removed.
Yeah.
But whatever, Trump just breaks laws and does weird horrifying shit
Well,
like most people breathe just
here's what
constantly.
here's what I can tell you about the CPAC and the stuff I've seen from him lately. As a guy who's done stand up and has seen a lot of bad stand up, um, he like the other day he tweeted about Hillary, or he said something at CPAC about Hillary, and Hillary posted on Twitter a meme from that movie Mean Girls where she goes, the girls go, "Why are you so obsessed with me?" So I think what it is like he's doing terribly, and maybe some part of his aged, rotten brain realizes that he's floundering and like no one likes him and he's not getting anything done. And so he does this thing that the stand-up comedians do, where like their material's not working, right? The new material's
Hmm.
not working, so they go, let me go back into the old stuff. But then like that old stuff's no longer relevant
Ooh,
because those events have passed, and he's like, oh no, the old stuff that used to work isn't working. Okay,
disaster.
yeah. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kind of go off the top of my head, and that'll get him back. And it doesn't.
Ooh,
Yeah. He
it's a
he has
total
all the
and
makings of
complete
a
disaster.
yeah. He has all the makings of like a sweaty, failing stand-up open mic comic.
That reminds me of what's his name, Gil from The Simpsons.
Old Gil. Yeah. 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 It's just,
Oh, come on, let old Gil be a president again. Come on. I gotta get in
yeah.
this cell, or the Russians are gonna break my kneecaps. I can't do a
Yeah.
good
He's
Gil voice, but
yeah.
I,
To tie into that, what's really
I'm sort of
interesting
leaning
is
more towards Cowardly Lion. Like, come on, come on.
put up the wall, put it up, put it up.
Put up the wall. Yeah, I can see that.
Um, Yeah, he is the cowardly lion because he pretends to be really brave, but he's just like, oh no, they're gonna get me.
Speaking of, oh yeah, that actually reminds me. Remember whenever Trump thought someone was attacking him at one of his rallies, and he freaked the fuck out and threw himself behind one of the, what do you call it? One of his
Secret
guards.
Service?
Yeah, Secret
Yeah.
Service guards. He's like, oh, and he just ran off the stage like he was shitting his pants. Speaking of shitting pants in fear, Roger Stone is still somehow free after continuously breaking his gag order all weekend long.
I like to think that they're just saving it up for Stone. Um, because
He's
when I
breached the gag order 5 times now. He has a book that he's going to release talking about the case, and the judge demands to know, well, why didn't you tell me about that? And he's still free after that. He keeps putting up like Instagram
well
posts
when
of
when was the book written?
before all this, but he can't talk
Okay,
about it during the gag order.
So I mean,
It was slated to be released, but this is something he should have told the judge about during the hearing.
should, but that's a gray area. If the book was already written before the gag order, then it wasn't like he went over a long weekend and wrote a new book, right?
Right.
I think Stone's going to go to jail, although it was kind of bullshit. Manafort got sentenced, and they gave him 4 years, which is, I guess, a long time in old white man years, but it's also kind of unfair because he should have gotten a lot longer.
It goes back to the old Chappelle Show sketch where, what if drug dealers were treated like rich white people?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
what if rich white people were treated like drug dealers, where they went to that one guy's house, shot his dog, and punched his wife?
Yeah. It's a lot of just I guess there are a lot of rich old white people holding their breath when he got sentenced and went, oh, thank God. The system is still fucked.
Yeah, of course. It's very much is. Now, the bright side is, and we'll know about this in a week or two if this pans out, he has a second sentencing. And
Good.
At the second sentencing, the judge may say, he may give him another 10 years and say they must be consecutive. Now, consecutive is good. That means 14 years. If they're concurrent, that means it's just 10 years because the years all overlap. In other words, if he gets another 5 years, but they're concurrent, then that's only 5 years in jail because he serves the two sentences concurrently. Where if they're consecutively, then it's one then the other. And this other judge is not going to be the same deplorable sack of shit the current judge that gave him 4 years is.
Yeah, I want him to get. I would love for him to get an Old West, hanging judge where he's just like, Mr. Manafort, may God have mercy on your soul. I sentence you to hang. And then someone whispers in the judge's ear you can't sentence him to hang. It's not a capital crime. Life in prison. Yeah.
With the 4 years, he got less than 4 years actually. The recommended sentence was 24 years, and so he way lowballed it.
Did the judge forget the 2? Maybe it was just a clerical error where the judge is like, 4 years.
No, I mean...
I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. 24 years. Sorry, my hand was covering up the 2. 24 years.
And he's one of those people that, like Trump, how Trump never wants to be wrong if he says the wrong thing. He's trying to say human trafficking, but he said something like human suitcases. Oh, and also human trafficking. It's one of those things. Oh, I sent you to 4 years. Oh, shit, that's a 2. Nope, 4 years, 4 years. I'm never wrong. But no, this judge actually has a long history of being a piece of shit, so... That's what happens whenever the GOP gets to load the courts with people that are friendly to whites. Rich white people. If you're poor, you still don't get off easy.
Even as a judge, I don't know, man. It seems like it would be fun. Just throw the book at everyone. You're the fucking judge. Yep. Just be like, what's the maximum sentence? Bam! Got it. Good. It's the law. I'm the law. If I was a judge, I swear to God, I would go into court every day with a Judge Dredd helmet on. And when they were like, 24 years, Judge, I'd be like, I am the law.
I am the law.
I'd be disbarred really, really quickly.
Possibly. Speaking of, Cohen was just disbarred, so that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird that it took him that long to wait, but, yeah.
But, at least stuff's happening.
Yeah, Cohen's given up a lot, man. He is, it's crazy that he gave up as much as he did, and he is still going to jail.
Yeah. But, part of the reason why he's giving up this much is because he's going to jail, so he just wants to fuck everyone on his way down.
Well, that's the thing.
Which makes me thrilled, and absolutely I'm starting to see why the right liked Cohen whenever he was still on their side, because whenever you have an asshole that's just trying to fuck everyone, it really does feel vindicating if he's trying to fuck people you want to see fucked.
Yeah. That's the thing about Cohen. Say whatever you will about him. He's a good guy, bad guy, whatever. Cohen is really, if he was a superhero, his superpower would be, legally fucking people over.
He's also suing the Trump organization.
For the legal fees, which is great. Yeah.
For
Hope
all
he gets
the legal
his money.
fees to his... right now, while he's fucking everyone over legally, he wants Trump to pay for it. So, who's really the better deal maker? Trump, who did not get Mexico to pay for the wall?
Yeah, that's what...
Or Cohen, who is prosecuting Trump and making Trump pay for it?
I'll turn state's evidence and make Mexico pay for it. Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with that. Yeah. Fucking, oh my God.
So guess what else? Oh, go ahead.
Going back to the Manafort thing real quick. I didn't even know that you could be sentenced to this, but I was rewatching American Gangster last night, based on real New York gangster from like the '60s, Frank Lucas, who imported a ton of heroin. So he got sentenced to like 40 years plus life probation.
Huh.
So he's like an old man right now. He got out in 1991. I think he's still alive. He's old as shit now. He's still on probation, and I'm like, that's the very least Manafort should have gotten, is like your sentence plus life probation.
Yeah, I could see that. He should have gotten 24 years plus life probation. And Manafort, he doesn't look it, but he's much older than he appears. So 24 years would by far be a death sentence for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he still might get 24 years if his second sentencing, really throws the book at him hard, which I think the second judge will, just because the first judge was so lenient.
went so light. Yeah. I mean, I thought there was mandatory minimum sentencing. I didn't
No,
realize the recommended sentencing could be 24 years, and you could go, meh.
1 year. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no mandatory minimum for treason. Well,
There should be.
actually, what they're hitting him with this time was about the tax fraud stuff.
Right. In all the time I've been alive, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody besides. Did they get Chelsea Manning for treason, or Edward Snowden for treason?
Chelsea Manning's back in jail now. Fun fact.
Yeah. What did she do to get back in jail? I saw that, but I didn't read into it.
She was called to testify on WikiLeaks, and she refused, so they put her back in jail.
Well, that's weird, because can't you like refuse to testify and like pleading the fifth, or just say I don't want to?
Not if you're indicted.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I bet Manning has more time in jail than what's his name, Manafort. I bet.
Probably. She's sentenced to jail either until she agrees to testify or until this current what do you call it, jury dissolves. Once the special jury or whatever it's called about the Mueller case is gone, then she can go free. For the life of the jury, I think it was phrased. Or Grant.
I mean, I don't know how I feel, because I'm not as familiar with Chelsea Manning as I was. I'm glad that the documents were revealed in the WikiLeaks and stuff, but also I think that WikiLeaks is now, it was kind of a power to the people thing, because they're publishing stuff about the government that we need to know. But it became weaponized.
I was sort of on their side when they first appeared, because I liked the idea of it, but I didn't realize whenever they were talking about transparency, they were full of shit, and actually all they wanted was just to be a weapon against the Democrats, masquerading as transparency.
Yep, exactly.
And that's all they are, and they are absolutely a propaganda branch of the not Republicans, of the Russians.
Yeah. So then it became a misinformation campaign, and I was just like, well, that's depressing. I was really excited. And then that's the thing about all those dumps, right? Was nobody really. This is what's crazy. No one really talked about the fucking
emails.
No one really talked about the fucking Paradise Papers.
Paradise Papers. Now what's that?
Oh my God! See what I mean? Even us, with our journalistic integrity, haven't talked about it. The Paradise Papers were, I believe they were called the Paradise Papers, where it was a little bit after the WikiLeaks dumps, but it was this huge dump of secret information about how the ultra wealthy and governments and stuff are hiding their money in the Caymans and whatnot.
Oh.
A huge, someone should have gone after these people. This is massive tax fraud and stuff. All these wealthy people are hiding their money, right?
Well,
and it came out.
That's actually
happened.
legal, but it's it looks grotesque, but it's legal to hide your money.
Well, it shouldn't be, and someone should do something about it.
But here's the thing: it's like I was floundering trying to explain how propaganda worked in another episode. The people that have the money pay the politicians to pass bills that are good for people with the money. And if you don't have money, then why would politicians do anything for you? Because if they do anything for you, it's going to hurt the people with the money. The people with the money, the wealthy benefactors of mostly the Republicans right now, because the Republicans are largely in charge. They get he who has the gold makes the rules. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And also, they can hire all the best propagandists to convince the voters that voting against their own best interests is good for them. And they're very good at doing this because they've convinced a lot of people to vote against their best interests. That's why people are so scared of socialism, boogeyman.
Well, I'll tell you, we should be scared of this.
Because that would be very bad for rich people, so they want people to keep voting in ways that make the rich just a little bit richer.
So I'll give you the brief on the Paradise Papers real quick. And this is maybe why, because it was too much for the world to digest. 13.4 million confidential electronic documents relating to offshore investments that were leaked to German reporters.
Right.
Companies named were there were companies like Apple, like Nike. There's a whole bunch of companies. Countries named. You ready for this? Countries that are involved in this dirty money thing.
Yes.
And I wish I could do it like the Animaniacs, because there's so many countries. But it's like
Peru. Oh,
yeah, it's
Bolivia.
like
Libya.
let me see if I can do it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that song well.
Algeria, Angola, and Ghana and Kenya, Liberia, Nigeria, Uganda, India, Indonesia, Japan, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Austria, France, Greece, Ireland, Lithuania, Montenegro, Serbia, Spain, and Switzerland, Turkey, United Kingdom, Ukraine, Israel, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Canada, Costa Rica, Mexico, United States, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and I'm out of countries. Yeah, all those countries were involved.
You know what's wonderful is that the voice of Yakko can actually do that entire song off the top of his head, even today.
He does a really cool show called Talking Tunes where they take famous movie clips and he does Yakko and then someone else, whatever voice actor he has. It'll be like one of the babies from Rugrats doing a scene from Pulp Fiction.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, so the point is these documents came out about how these people in countries are hiding their money. The details were made public in 2017 and stories are still being released. Yeah, we're not talking about any of it.
Speaking of not talking about stuff, I just want to give you by the numbers. So we're 43 minutes into our recording session, and we've covered 3 bullet points on page 1 of 4, and I have 5 pages.
Well, I guess
like I said, this week has been very full.
I guess you just have to take the headlines and then just do them like the Animaniacs song.
McConnell was fucked. So
maybe
that actually
brings
us to a good segue into my new segment, the Lightning Round Roundup. The Lightning Round Roundup has been put together because just so much shit happened that the best I can do is just bullet point stuff that I can read off, but we really don't have time to discuss. Are you ready?
So let's hold on. So I want to add one thing to Lightning Round Roundup.
All right.
We can call it Lightning Round Roundup, but let's do a game of Lightning Round Roundup word association. You drop the headline, I give you the word I associate with it, then we move on to the next headline.
We could do that, but I have sentences, not headlines.
Okay, sentences, and then I give you my one word response, and then we move on.
That sounds great. Okay, let's do it.
Number 1.
North Korea is back to building missiles.
Boom.
McConnell's chances of winning re-election in 2020 is on the decline.
Pull him in the shell. Your hands and feet, you turtle bastard.
Yep. Several strategies are in place to seize all of Trump's assets even while he's still in office.
No, my porcelain doll collection.
A judge strikes down the citizenship question on the new census, which Trump tried to put in place.
If you strike down my citizenship, I shall become more American than you can possibly imagine.
Ooh, that's good. Trump attempted to prevent CNN from merging with another company just to be petty, specifically Time Warner and AT&T from merging. His attempt to do this was blocked.
Who's a petty girl? Who's a petty girl? You are.
Make like a new cat owner and be petty, Trump? We'll show you. All right, McConnell is now publicly speaking out against Trump's national emergency and even went on TV to admit he was arguing with Trump over it.
Said the turtle to the moron.
While we disliked Obama killing people with drones, we'll never know what the death toll is up to anymore because Trump took it upon himself to stop anyone from releasing that information. So much for transparency.
To be fair, he can't count that high anyway.
Trump called Tim Cook Tim Apple, so that was trending for a bit.
What?
Tim Cook's the CEO of Apple, so Trump called him Tim Apple because he's a dotard. Anyway.
You know what? I love my new iCook phone, okay?
The White House Communications Director Bill Shine resigns. Air Force Security Heather Wilson resigns. The new job report is a total and complete disaster.
I don't even have one for that. It's quitting time.
The House begins a massive probe as Ted Lieu announces on last Sunday that the House Judiciary Committee is launching a massive and very broad investigation into Trump and 81 other people and entities around him, including family members, every single one of his children, except for Ivanka. The other two don't count.
Bend over and grab your socks, Trump family. Here comes the probe.
The impeachment wars have begun. They have. No, wait. I fucked up the Yoda quote. Begun the impeachment wars have. There we go. That's better. All right. Is that everything? Crimes being uncovered. On Tuesday, the New York Department of Financial Services issued a 9-page subpoena to the insurance broker of the Trump organization.
Well, everybody likes to think that their subpoena is 9 pages, but the average length of the average man's subpoena is about 4 to 5 pages.
I always liked hearing that because, well, anyway, never mind. I was going to say, because I doubled it. Anyway. All right, so do you want to jump into the next section, the checkup?
Yeah. In my head, all I'm thinking is like, subpoena, 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 subpoena.
That's basically what's going on right now. So, how are the trademarks going in China? The U.S. has just been sued for blocking its sales, and so not great.
Well, the weird thing about this trade war is, like, look, I don't like Trump's trade war, but I'm also not on the side of China. They're really good at using the system. They steal intellectual property. They have this law, I don't know if you know this, if you want to, like, say, take your products and your company to China, China's like, okay, man, cool, but guess what? Half of your company has to be owned by a Chinese entity, and we are going to steal all the technology. Basically, like, your company has to open your door to a another company so they can kind of like come in and look at your technology. Like, it's kind of fucked. Like, China's real good at what they do. Definitely wouldn't want to like be a Chinese citizen in the way they treat their people, and they're really good at using. I mean, shit, man. Remember we talked about China's got like a 10, a 20, 100-year plan. We're just winging it here.
Yeah. Especially right now, because most people only are interested in the next quarter of the year, because that's the fiscal quarter, right? They want to maximize their profits for that next fiscal quarter to push up their shareholders' wealth by just a teeny tiny bit, and then they're like, yay, and then they move on to the next quarter.
I mean,
the future be damned.
Always be careful when you're dealing with a people who built a wall using multiple generations of humans who then would die and become part of the wall. Those are people who can get shit done.
Speaking of the wall, GOP senators who could vote against Trump now stands at 15. So that's fun. Like I was saying earlier, they are almost at a veto-proof majority. You know how things are going in North Korea, though? Yeah,
I was going to bring that up earlier. Apparently, what they got from those talks is we should build more nuclear launch sites.
Yeah. And South Korea has confirmed that North Korea is prepping for missile launches. So Trump actually seemed to have made things worse this time. So good job, you bloated bastard.
Well, the thing is, so I think we're going to have to get to a point, because things have been bungled in North Korea so badly. I think we're going to have to get to a point where, as horrible as they are, we're going to have to deal with them on the terms of them having launch-capable nukes. Like, that can reach other places. I don't think that this whole death to America, I don't think they're going to launch nukes at America, because he wants to stay in power, and he knows if he launches nukes, it's all over, right?
Yar.
The reason the United States won't try, like, one of their shitty CIA invasions is because anything we do, they still have the limited nuclear capability to devastate South Korea, maybe Japan, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It would be a mess. But, like, even if they could launch it and hit other countries, it's just sort of like, well, we're going to have to readjust our strategy now, because, like, they've been allowed to kind of advance the technology, and, like, this administration has completely bungled, anything at all to, like, kind of bring them into the fold.
Yeah. So, speaking of bringing people into the fold, how are things going in Saudi Arabia?
I'm going to assume that they're beheading people for jaywalking now, because I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, GOP senators are now calling the Crown Prince, quote, full gangsta, and his actions are, quote, not acceptable. So,
okay,
yeah, things are getting worse.
I thought you meant, like, they were going to call him, like, we as the GOP would like to say that, because his name is, I can't remember his full name, but it's like everyone calls him MSB. We'd like to extend a resolution calling MSB full gangsta. What up, playa? I thought you meant by that they were just like, we wish that we had some of your swag.
Yar. So, now
Well,
that
what'll
the
happen? What'll happen? Because I was reading a news story on this. Here's what happens in Saudi Arabia.
yes.
Every time there's a new, it's run by one family. It's a kingdom. Every time there's like a new prince that takes over, the whole Western world, instead of looking at that person who they are, and what they do, they go, Saudi Arabia is getting a new prince, and he likes disco. And like so like they it's like a puff piece, and they're like, Saudi Arabia finally becoming more liberal. Meanwhile, they're fucking hacking people's fucking heads off, like, in the back room. And every time this person turns out to be terrible and tightens the reins. They did it with MSB. He did like the Western book tour, and they're like, new prince of Saudi Arabia meets Oprah, discusses his feelings on Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants tonight at 6. And like, fucking, meanwhile, people in Saudi Arabia are like, no, he killed a dog for fun.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing. Like, we keep saying the deplorables don't know much. Maybe they actually know a lot, but not in the right context. So they hear these news stories saying they're going more liberal, and the deplorables are like, oh yeah, well, let's look and see what Saudi Arabia's up to. They killed a dog for fun. Oh, the liberals kill dogs for fun and behead people.
Remember the one thing
I can't
that
vote for the liberals. Oh no.
The one thing conservatives fear more than the left,
Brown
Sharia
people?
law.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was gonna say brown people.
They are fucking. They talk about Sharia law like the way people talked about the One Ring in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Well, that's just what the wealthy propagandists do. They use buzzwords to scare people.
But yet they want like autocratic Christian Old Testament law, which I go, the Old Testament and like the Quran are like,
you should be stoned to death for wearing mixed fibers. Are you wearing a
Yeah.
cotton and polyester shirt? Well, you should be put to fucking death according to the Bible. And no, that is not a law that was ever undone with Jesus' crucifixion like the food laws were.
yeah.
You should still, to this day, be put to death for daring to mix fibers in your clothing, sir or madam.
He's a new savior, and he's talking with Oprah about mixed fibers.
So now that the Trump shutdown's over, do you know how things are going with the border? Smoother, right?
Oh man, well more people, and I feel bad about this, but more and more people are showing up to get help, and it's overwhelming everything. And I'm just
Speaking of more people showing up for help, the Department of Justice has stopped hiring new judges for immigration cases because they're out of money. Womp womp.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
they want to make it as they want to make it as bad as possible because they need this boogeyman. And I feel so bad for these people, but also I want to go down to the border and go, no, go away, not now. Wait till 2020. This is a bad time. Don't come yet. Wait, this is awful.
2021, because 2020 is like when the election's happening.
Yeah,
They get sworn in 2021.
Has anybody thought about putting up a giant door with a little slot on it, so when people come in, they're like, can we come in the United States? We open the slot and we go, no one gets to see the wizard. No way, no how. And then,
Nobody gets to
close
see
it.
America. Not no way, not how. Not no how.
Yeah.
There's one last checkup person. Do you know how R. Kelly's doing?
Dude. He had a meltdown on an interview, which was weird. That he had a meltdown like that, and my favorite part of that meltdown was he was just like, y'all trying to kill me. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids. And then like the next day they go, R. Kelly is in jail for owing $160,000 in child support.
R. Kelly's in jail.
Yeah, so I guess like you wanted that relationship, but you did not want to pay child support. Also, one of his kids wrote a letter that was like, yeah, we know he's a piece of shit. We know he's been like this for a while.
Yeah. So we can finally move on to the next bullet point. Woot. In insurance fraud perpetrator in chief news, it has been revealed.
Look. I love you to death.
Yes.
But that's probably you got to think like you got to do like Trump. That's not gonna stick in the election. People are gonna be like tax fraud and perpetrator in chief. It's too long. They're gone.
That's Stephen Colbert actually had a joke about that with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer trying to reveal like the new Democratic platform, and it was like 15 paragraphs long.
Yep. Yeah, because they're like old parents that are trying to be cool.
Yep. But they also want to get all of the information in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, Trump's very simple, very stupid, so that's why he's like, build a wall, and all of his followers are like, we know what a wall is.
Don't perpetrate that myth. Trump isn't the one that came up with that.
I know.
That was the propaganda arm of Russia, And God bless them, they've been trying to come up with propaganda since the 80s. They've been losing the propaganda war for a long time.
They finally
they
figured out that the best way to reach the deplorables is with monosyllabic vernaculars.
Yeah, exactly. Just like real quick, like it's like when you were made fun of in school, like the weirdest. I tell you what, real quick. I know we're running out of time, but like the way I got made fun of the most, and it was the crazy, most organic way I got made fun of once, was I was in the lunchroom and I spilled my drink.
Yeah.
And this kid goes, "Hey, everybody, Peter spilled his tea!" And what made it
that
stick,
is something kids would do.
And what made it stick was he started a chant. It was like lock her up, but he was like, "Peter spilled his tea! Peter spilled his tea! Peter spilled his tea!" And like the whole lunchroom is just like, "Peter spilled his tea! Peter spilled his tea!" Because it just like, it works. It's just like, lock her up, build that wall. You know what I mean?
Peter T.
And then sometimes I would just, like weeks later, I would just be in the lunchroom, not doing anything, but like standing in line, and somebody would just start going, "Peter spilled his tea! Peter spilled his tea!" And I assumed that kid went on to run Cambridge Analytica and the Trump campaign.
Probably, yeah.
Thank God that he was just trying him out then, and that he wasn't like, "Peter's a criminal, lock him up, lock him up."
You would be in jail right now. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just got to have that like like it's got to like yeah.
Yep. So in insurance fraud perpetrator in Chinese ooze.
You're a fucking old white man. That's what you are. Yeah. All right, I got it. I'm gonna try this rap thing. Tax evasion, like tax fraud. Yeah, boy.
Now they know that you are stumped about this Trump, but let me get you over this news hump. Dun, dun,
now you
dun,
sound like
dun,
that
dun,
Christian
dun,
rap from the 80s.
Dun,
Where
dun,
they're like,
dun,
"Hey,
dun,
kids,
dun, dun, dun.
Jesus can be cool. Let me drop some Leviticus 5:13 on you."
All right, I need to be able to breathe to get through this. So in 2000, it's been revealed in 2005, Trump took $17 million in insurance for hurricane damage to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, I love this story. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. I love it.
The Associated Press found no evidence of damage to his property. So when pressed on it, back then Trump admitted to pocketing, quote, some of the money.
Well, what was funny
That's
about it
insurance
too
fraud.
was
Any normal person would be arrested for this. But again, Trump's above the law, even his past crimes.
When they asked him about it too, he just goes like, there is damage. We've got Spanish tiles. We've got paintings, the palm trees. He's just like naming stuff that's at the resort. Sorry, continue, because I got a kicker for this one too.
I know that's all the info I have on it.
Oh,
that's
great.
just he's above the law. Who cares if he commits insurance fraud? He can just get away with it.
Al Capone went away for tax fraud.
I mean, I hope they get Trump on something. I don't even care what.
Well, here's the greatest thing about that story that you missed. So, okay, he may or may not have committed insurance fraud. How will you prove it, you might ask? How would you prove something like that happened so long ago?
How?
There's no evidence of it, right? I mean, there's no direct photographic evidence of it, right?
Right.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
Oh?
Because Trump Jr. had his wedding there after that. And
So-
who did he have photograph it? But Getty fucking Images. There are thousands of photos of the place right after he committed insurance fraud, showing all aspects of Mar-a-Lago.
Holy shit! Oh, that's wonderful.
And the truth shall set you free!
That was a good movie.
Uh,
Fucking bitters blow!
yeah, man.
So, three more major stories, and we can wrap it up.
Sweet, like a hot dog.
Let's see, where are we
Wrap
at?
it up! Wrap it up!
Wrap it up! I need more tea. It's all the way in the fridge. All right, let's see the next part. So the Democrat database news, aka the Good People database, as I call it, because it turns out that the fears during the Obama era that conservatives are going to be put in databases and monitored were just more projection. Leaked documents revealed a list and database put together by the U.S. government that includes activists, lawyers, and journalists who were covering the happenings at the border. Border officials monitored them, put marks on their passports, made them subject to excessive inspections, questioned them about what they saw and who they talked to, and tried to harass them into going home. The Homeland Security source also said a dossier was put together on each individual.
I saw this, and all I could think was like, man, I wonder if me and Patrick are on that list. I want to be on that list.
We should have gone to the border. Then we could actually be on a Trump shit list.
I want to be where the oppression is. But yeah, no, I mean, it made me wonder, like, on the list of, like, undesirables and, like, rabble-rousers.
Being Donald Trump, there's not much to life. A soul is needed for loving, feeling.
This is the musical segment of our show. I wonder how far down the rabble-rouser list we are. There's just, they've got, like, reporters, and they got activists who are out there saving lives, and then they got other people with, like, successful, like, podcasts and stuff, and they're like, where near the, are we on it near the bottom, or are we just like a non-entity?
The stench in the air is Trump spanked by a whore. The border wall much. I don't know.
Sometimes I hate you. But yeah, I'm like, are we on that list? Like, if we try to go to Mexico, would they be like, wait a minute, are you those Muckrakers? And we'd be like,
I'm already composing this song. It's going to be wonderful.
They'd be like, who are you here to see? And we're like, we don't know. We don't really research. We just shout about stuff. You listen to the show. That's what I hope.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about the song. Anyway, so what are the Dems doing for people news? This week, they put forth a bill to save net neutrality and undo the Reese's Cup motherfuckers' damage.
Yeah.
So going way back, people are always saying, what the Dems doing? Well, now that they have power, they're not just trying to stop Trump. They're also trying to save the fucking internet because that Reese's Cup having motherfucker decided to from the FCC decided to fuck us all over as soon as the deplorables had their hands on the FCC and were able to do this shit.
Well, here's the weird thing about net neutrality. Again, it unites both parties, both people. It doesn't matter, if someone's just like, fucking Trumpers, fucking libtards, fucking goddamn anti-government people, but everyone's just like, wait, they're going to take away what? No, that's where I get my porn, and then I write my blog.
Yeah, so that's like 91% of Americans are in favor of this, and like, I guess 9% have rocks in their heads.
I just assume the other 9% are the ultra-wealthy, or are just old people that don't quite understand. They're like, is they still talking about that internet fad?
Oh, they probably don't like the internet at all. They just want to get rid of it completely.
Can we go back to newspapers?
Like that, what was it? The Medea movie where the kid's saying, do you have Wi-Fi in this house? And Medea's like, what now? Wi-Fi? Oh yeah, if you want Wi-Fi, I can go over there, I can make you Wi-Fi. You just gotta ask me nicely and I'll make you Wi-Fi. What are you talking about? The Wi-Fi iron. I can go over there and get the Wi-Fi iron, and I can make you some Wi-Fi and put some blueberries in them. No, Wi-Fi, not waffles.
Yeah, those people. No, not like, God damn it. Now it sounds like we're doing like a race. No, I mean like the old people that don't know, not like black people don't know what the internet is. God damn it.
I wasn't talking about black people. I was talking about old people. This old person happens to be black.
Well, then I realized when I said those people, I'm like, I don't mean it like that.
Oh, I got you. Those people. I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's good, actually.
When I'm saying those people, I generally mean the geriatrics.
Yeah. Okay, so in That's Not Cute news, to wrap us up for the day, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So when I first started That's Cute, it's supposed to be something that highlights things that Trump said that he was going to do to make America great again. And then he just fucks everything over super hard, like destroying steel industry jobs, mining jobs. Trump basically does the exact opposite of everything he said he would do and makes things much, much worse. And so I can point out, thousands more people are losing their jobs in the car industry after Trump said that he was going to save it. Well, that's cute then. Sort of a sarcastic tongue-in-cheek kind of that's cute.
So what's not cute?
That's not cute is when it just legitimately starts to piss me off. And also this has nothing to do with, I don't think it has anything to do with Trump. It's just something that's happening, and it annoys the hell out of me.
Okay.
Walmart is phasing out the greeter program.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised. Well, it ran for a long time because greeters are basically like super cheap security.
Yeah, they actually want to emphasize the security part, but go ahead.
The problem with that is, as a former Walmart employee, and And as
Peter said
formerly,
employee!
part of being part of Walmart's security apparatus. So here's what happens, right?
Right.
The greeter program is a super cheap deterrent towards shoplifting, right?
Yes.
So they've tried that before where like they removed greeters at certain stores and people were just doing push-outs. Do you know what a push-out is?
Where you just fill up your buggy and leave?
Yep. Whee!
That's what it sounded like it was, so...
Yeah, so as you add more like self-checkouts and stuff like that, the greeter program, phase it out is dumb because you're saving money and paying old people, slave wages to just stand there and go, "Hi, hello, have you shoplifted?" Like it just having a person standing there.
Yeah, there was one old guy that asked me if I was shoplifting water because I went through the self-checkout with a giant thing of water in my buggy. He's like, it's right there on the list. Okay, sorry, I didn't see you lift it up. And I'm thinking in my head, I didn't lift it up because it's fucking heavy. I just used the wand. But anyway, continue.
Point being, I mean, you try to phase it out, but I think they're gonna. I don't think it'll stick. I think they'll go, oh, that sucks. We need to get these people back.
Right. So, but that's what they're doing is see what sucks about this and what annoyed me is that I was planning on becoming a Walmart greeter when I turned 80, right after I finished watching the 100th year anniversary special of Doctor Who. Right? So when I'm old and I can't do anything else, Walmart hires people that can't be hired anywhere else, and they hire people who can't do much else to just sit there and be a greeter. This was my retirement plan. Penn Jillette and Teller once said that if they couldn't make it as magicians anymore, they know that they can be hired at Walmart. And what they imitated was being greeters. It's like, very, very politely, like this was not tongue-in-cheek at all. They were saying, yes, this would be a great job for us. We could do this if we can't make it as magicians anymore. This is an option for us.
It's the one.
That was my fallback position for it.
I think it's the one. For life. The one out of all the horrible things Walmart does, it's the one positive thing they do, where you give an old person you give them a job and they get to talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know you wanted to. Go ahead.
But there's a bit more. So thousands.
Oh no! Are they gonna grind up the people with the horse meat and sell them as Walmart patties?
Yeah, they're gonna be part of the hot dogs in the back, part of the sausages. So thousands of stores are doing away with the greeters by the end of April. So this is very short notice. And it's going to be replaced with the new customer host program, which is designed around security, like you were just saying, and quote-unquote helping customers. It requires being able to stand without ever sitting, like how the greeters are allowed to sit. But they can't sit all day long. They have to just stand there, and they have to be able to lift at least 25 pounds. So basically, instead of hiring old people to be greeters, they're just going to hire strapping young men to be security.
So you're not phasing out the greeter. You're just making it. You're just taking away a chair.
Yeah, and that screws thousands of disabled workers out of their jobs.
Well, it is Walmart, and that is kind of what they do. I know you wanted to wrap it here, but I got one more piece of news that I think you're going to enjoy.
All right.
Because this is, I don't know, I'm going to just name this segment. This is the Fuck Fox News segment.
Oh, okay. So how should we say fuck you to Fox News today?
Well, apparently the Democratic Party went through puberty and gained a little bit of courage, and I think their balls dropped because they said that this year, because Fox News is basically functioning as a propaganda arm of the White House, they will not host the Democratic primary on Fox News. Fox News will not have that anymore. And Fox News went crazy.
So, I'm missing something. You said who said what now? Say that again.
The Democratic Party is not going to allow Fox News to host any
okay. I completely misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you were saying Fox News said that they wouldn't host it, and then they went crazy when they said that. So the Dems are saying we won't allow you to host it.
Yeah, you don't get to host any of the Democratic primary debates. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, okay.
They don't put...
Fucking go for it, because it is clear that they are just a propaganda branch. They are not real news, so fuck them.
Well, here's the thing. So there's a really good Young Turks piece on this, but basically they go, well, they're not doing any of the Republican primaries on any other network. They're not doing the, they're not doing the Republican primaries on, the Young Turks or, CNN, where, it's less friendly towards Republicans. So why should the Democrats do their primary on Fox News?
Yeah, there we go. Well, let it actually be fair and equal, and it's just like everything else, whenever people are used to having absolute power, they mistake the loss of absolute power for oppression.
Well,
Fox News is used to being able to do everything that they want and get away with it all.
It gets worse because you have people from like Fox News, but you also like Anderson Cooper and all these other people are like, this is a bit too far, because they're all millionaires doing what billionaires tell them to do. So everyone, all these news organizations,
all these news Cooper,
yeah, E2 Cooper. All these other news organizations are jumping in to defend Fox because they're worried about losing access as well. Because Trump goes, well, maybe we'll just have the presidential primaries. Maybe we won't let them be done on like CNN or whatever. And everybody's panicking. And he goes, and I'm like, fuck it, man. Like, you're a private party. You can fucking host this wherever you want.
Yeah, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah. I honestly think that
I don't care which TV network gets ratings. I just want people to understand that Fox News is not news. They are not fair and balanced. They are liars. They are a propaganda branch of the GOP party. And no, CNN is not the same thing, but for the left, they actually are fair and balanced, and generally speaking, non-biased. And anyone that scoffs at that is very biased and does not understand reality, or they're just not paying attention.
CNN has their own problems too, but my whole thing is
it was something that Bill Maher said, and I've been agreeing with it for a while.
We should do the Republican primary debates on Bill Maher's show.
I agree. Fuck it. Why not?
I'm 100% with that. Fine.
He actually is like not a douchebag to Republicans. I've seen him talk to them. He's as nice as they deserve to be spoken to.
Yeah. But my whole thing is, and I've thought this for a long time.
Hell, I saw Chris Christie on Stephen Colbert the other day, and they actually got along really well. And Colbert was so happy by the end of it. He told Chris Christie, this went a lot better than I was expecting it to. And they're both happy and palling around.
Well, the thing about Chris Christie is he has the ability to turn on the charm, but he's also a giant asshole.
Yeah. He's still a criminal. Let's make no mistake.
Yeah. But the whole thing about and I'll wrap it with this real quick, is like with the primaries and then like the presidential debates as well, like and with campaign finance, I think the way you fix all that is if you win the nomination, right? We should set up a law so that you can be Republican, you can be Democrat, but we also have to give equal access to a third party. It doesn't matter what it is. And I think those especially when you get past the primary debates, I think first of all, campaign finance money should be a capped money that we set aside in the budget, and you can only use the money that we budget, and everyone gets the same amount of money, right? So you can't raise billions of dollars. Your money comes directly from the taxpayer. Secondly, the debate should be televised and funded by the taxpayers at a neutral place where you can have the Republican, you can have the Democrat, and you can have whoever wins the most third-party votes are all equally in the debate.
Oh, I skimmed over this earlier, didn't read it, but the Democrats also just put forth a bill called the For the People Act, and it's supposed to remove money and corruption from politics. I don't know how, because they didn't include like a link to the bill, but still, that sounds like they're actually going to try and work on it.
Because I think if all of your campaign finance money comes from taxes and it's at a cap limit and it's completely, you can see it and it's completely, what's the word I'm looking for, transparent, I think that you begin to see politics shift. You can't.
If
no one can donate
taxes, then could I run for public office and be allotted like money to run?
If you win the majority of whatever third party comes in, yes. So like you still have your Republican, your Democrat. Problem is you can't fundraise, right?
Right. What if I wanted to start a new third party and just declare myself the winner because that's the primary process?
Well, if that third party wins the majority, it's whatever third party candidate wins the most votes, right?
I get it. So I would still have to compete with all the other third parties, right?
Exactly. So whichever one of those third parties wins the most vote, now you're on the ballot. And now you're in the nationally televised debates.
How do I raise funds up to that point?
Now that's the hard part, right? That I haven't figured out yet because I just made all this up as an idea off the top of my head. But we could figure that out, right?
Right.
So the point being is that like it would give equal access, and at least you would have a third candidate that had equal access to both the ballot and had equal access to airtime, right? And we could just run the airtime on. You can't run airtime on anything except for like public television, right? Publicly funded television, like what is it, NPR or whatever network runs NPR and all that shit, right? That's where you can run your ads. So anybody wants to listen to political ads for like president, You tune into that, you're going to hear an equal amount of ads from 3 different candidates. Boom! See how that changes, right? And then nobody, whether private or corporate or whatever, can donate any money. The only money you can use is what's allotted to you from taxes.